Your Excellency George Weah, past President of Liberia, Your Excellency Amopo Senebo, Sir Siminalai James Fubara, the Governor of Rivers State, the Royal Father of the Day, His Eminence Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Ibn Umar El Kanemi, CFR, FNE, FNAL, Chairman Borno State Council of Chiefs, the Chairman of the Body of Benchers, His Royal Majesty Albert Akpomuje, the GOC 6th Division, representing the Chief of Army Staff, past Presidents of the NBA, Chief T.O. Okoko, OCJ Okocha, SN, both of them, Olumide Akpata, the President-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mrs. Oyinkansola Badejo Okusoya, SN, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Honorable Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi. Let me adopt the already established protocol. Time is fast spent. I thought by 6 p.m. we'll be here out of this place. I think I was being very optimistic. I address you all with great honor and joy at this opening ceremony of the Nigerian Bar Association's 66th Annual General Conference taking place in this beautiful city of and welcoming and warm city of Port Harcourt. It's good to be back here. This town is fondly called PH, Harcourt, Pitaqua, among so many other names. It's a beautiful city. And when you note the so many names by which the town is known, it shows you the different perspectives and we are seen by the different age groups and how people fondly look forward to see, and also called PH. It is also known as Nigerian's Garden City. So we are in the Garden City. This town was originally selected to be the host city of the conference in 2025. When the unfortunate incident of the declaration of state of emergency occurred, we thought that the circumstances were such that we could not rightly hold our conference under the leadership of a sole administrator, and in keeping with our motto of promoting the rule of law, we opted out of hosting the conference in this city, but with a promise that whenever the democratic rule and governance return to the state, we would be back. When the governor, who is here present here today, was reinstated, we thought that it was only meet and proper for us to return to the city, because we made a promise and we had to keep that promise. When the chairman of the annual general conference said agreement is agreement, I thought to myself, some agreements are immoral and may not be kept. So not all agreements are agreements. But then, I digress. We chose as a theme for this year's annual general conference, Beyond Limits, as a call to action. Now, many of us are held back by obstacles that are either physical, real, imagined, or mental. And we thought that there is need for us to remind Nigerians that if you believe you can do it, you can. And that if you believe you cannot do it, you probably may not. Years ago, I came across a saying that if you throw your heart over the bar, then your body will follow. Meaning you can't overcome any obstacle which you have not believed you are capable of overcoming. And we are urging Nigerians to go beyond limits. And in doing this, we are reminded that when Nigeria gained independence on October 1st, 1960, there were a lot of hopes that Nigeria was going to be the beacon of Africa, was going to be like the lighthouse that was going to guide many African nations to greatness. 66 years after, and this is our 66th annual general conference, that hope remains to be realized. I hope Nigeria was then also called the giant of Africa. And sometimes it feels like telling Nigeria, oh giant, awake. But you have great potentials which you are yet to fully achieve. May I remind us that this optimism that Nigeria will be the greatest nation out of Africa and the greatest black nation in the world was founded on a few optimisms. And I will share some of them. Constitutional democracy. There was the belief that Nigeria had parliamentary democracy and federalism, and that it would successfully harmonize Nigeria's diverse ethnic and regional identities to forge the people into one. 66 years after, ethnicity, religion, and the things that were thought to be our strength have actually gone to weaken us. We have tribal cleavages which have made development very difficult. We don't think of ourselves as a nation. We first think as members of our ethnic or religious group and hardly think of the best interest of Nigeria. We are first parochial, and the sense of nationhood is not as high as it should be. That where world-class institutions, some universities were being built, and Nigerians were attaining prominence in different parts of the world. And we had politicians who had shown such greatness and vision that they were expected to shape the way for Africa. And then the rule of law was also thought Nigeria, the establishment of competent judiciary and public service designed to steer a self-reliant and sovereign state would be among the strengths that would make Nigeria that giant of Africa, so that will not only bear the name but justify that appellation. Let me explain why in his independent address on October 1st, 1960, the then Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, captured the optimism of that moment when he observed, it seemed that we were destined to move with quiet dignity to our place on the world stage. I don't need to tell you or be the ones to answer the question whether we have moved with quiet dignity or dignity at all, or whether we have attained our place in the world stage. Yet acknowledging the challenges that had already begun to emerge, he noted that recent events had changed the scene beyond recognition, leaving the country being tested to the utmost. Even then, he remained confident in the Nigerian spirit, declaring, "We shall not fall for want of determination, and we come to this task better equipped than many." Those were some of the hopes held out for Nigerians, and in many respects, the black race. 66 years later, Nigeria continues to bear the title Giant of Africa, and through its population of over 220 million people and its prominent role in shaping Africa's political, economic, and cultural landscape. Yet, while Nigeria has not fully achieved the expectations and dreams of its fathers, it still possesses the potential to do so and to become one of the leading countries of the world. Our potential, however, has remained latent, out of focus, and at times seemingly a mirage. As lawyers, we are custodians of the promise of Nigeria. We must therefore look beyond the familiar and focus on African leadership, democratic consolidation, institutional reform, and regional integration, particularly as Nigeria and other African countries approach critical political transitions. To go beyond limits, both as a nation and as members of the legal profession, we must venture beyond the usual borders. We must sometimes undertake what appear impossible to reach and achieve our goals. We must push through our limitations and beyond our comfort zones. There will be no shortcuts. There will be no excuses. There will be no appeal to pity. Whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. Going beyond limits requires that we constantly push ourselves and refuse to settle for the average. When we encounter resistance, it may seem difficult to overcome, but by pushing a little harder, we can accomplish great things. And all Often once we have done so, we look back and wonder why we ever thought the challenge was as difficult as they appeared. We must not allow limits to determine what we can achieve. Those who achieve greatness faced obstacles, but they were able to achieve greatness by overcoming those obstacles, by having a vision and planning, and by so doing, they succeeded. This is not the moment for the bar. This is the moment for the bar to lead in defending the Constitution, strengthening institutions, deepening access to justice, driving economic reform, promoting national security through the rule of law. And in this, I agreed with the representative of the COAS. We shall work with the armed forces. Nigeria is at a critical time. We are faced by different challenges. It is not enough to criticize. We must give constructive suggestions and sit down to make for a better Nigeria, where government is able to achieve the injunction in the Constitution, Section 14(2), that is security and the welfare of the people is the primary aim of government. We have been here for the past few days and we're having a good time, and I'm sure we'll continue to have it. But no matter the joy we have, no matter the good times we have, let us remember that sometimes good times make for weak men, and weak men make for hard times. That is quoting the founder of Dubai, reminding us about how his father rode a camel, he rode a car. His grandchild rides a Land Rover, and how his great-grandchild will ride a camel, because good times bring soft men, weak men, and weak men live for hard times. Let us remember that justice delivery through technology, court reform, and clearing the backlog of cases are some of the things that if we achieve as lawyers, as members of the legal profession, we will go beyond limits. That society looks up to us for justice before the court. And I think it was Othman Danfodio that said that while a people may exist without religion, they cannot survive without justice. And the people are looking up to the courts, and we owe it a duty to the society to go beyond limits to ensure that justice rolls down like a river, and most of the crimes and things we see in the society that destabilize us will become a thing of the past. The rule of law must be the foundation of national security, and the Nigerian first and the legal profession must observe the highest level of ethical conduct, because nobody will trust a legal profession that is seen not to be any different from a criminal enterprise. This conference therefore provides an opportunity not merely to examine the challenges confronting our nation and profession, but to ask the harder questions. What must we do differently to move beyond them? That's why I talked about not only identifying challenges, but profiling solutions. What do we do to make a better society? Our keynote speaker, His Excellency George Manuel Oppong, former president of Liberia and winner of Ballon d'Or. His life story is a remarkable masterpiece in resilience, determination, discipline, and purpose. From playing football barefoot in the swampy slums of Clara Town, Monrovia, where he was raised by his devoutly Christian grandmother, Emma Clonijare Brown, alongside 13 siblings. If I didn't get that name right, you forgive me. I'm sure you may encounter similar difficulties when you deal with our own names. Weah went on to become a global football icon and the president of Liberia. His journey began amid severe poverty. To escape the hardship around him, he channeled his energy into football, honing his skills on the dusty streets of Monrovia, while playing for local semi-professional teams such as Mighty Barrow and Invincible 11. You've come a long way, sir. He also worked as a switchboard technician for the Liberia Telecommunications Corporation. His breakthrough came when he signed for the Cameroonian club, Torero Yaoundé. His talent soon caught the attention of AS Monaco manager Arsene Wenger, who brought him to Europe in 1988, launching an extraordinary 14-year European club career that includes some of the biggest clubs in the world. Yet, while enjoying massive fame and success in Europe, I think he deserves a round of applause. Weah remained deeply devoted to his homeland, which at the time was being ravaged by brutal civil wars. He served as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador and personally committed millions of dollars of his own resources to provide equipment, travel, and other support for the Liberian national team, the Lone Star. He nearly coached and captained the underfunded team to a historical World Cup. If he's willing, he will tell the story of part of that dream was that year in Port Harcourt. But I leave that for him to tell the story. And in the process, helped transform it into a rare symbol of national unity. We chose him as our keynote speaker because his life reminds us that background does not determine destiny. That where you're starting from will not determine where you're going to. That where you get to is dependent on what you make of yourself. How resilient you are, refusing to give up, refusing to be intimidated, believing in your dreams and going on to achieve your dreams. His story demonstrates that resilience, determination, discipline, focus, and purpose can fundamentally alter the trajectory of an individual's life and ultimately contribute to its transformation, to the transformation of a nation. This is the spirit of Nigeria and the legal profession. This is the spirit that Nigeria and the legal profession must now embrace. The 2026 Annual General Conference is therefore not merely a gathering, it is a charge. I particularly acknowledge the unquantifiable support of His Excellency the Governor of Rivers State, who told me when we made the decision to come back, he said, Mr. President, I will do everything beyond within my power to ensure that he hosts a successful conference with that. Call me at any time, tell me what the problem is, and I will make sure that we'll solve it. Even up to a few minutes before the commencement of this conference, he kept that promise. You needed to have seen parts of this stadium some months back, but here we are not charged any money, and the governor had supported us in many ways. Your Excellency, we are very grateful. You are indeed a man of honor, and history will continue to be very kind to you. You have left your footprints in the sands of time, and they can never be washed off. May God continue to bless and uplift you. Our keynote speaker, you made sacrifices to be here. You left your family in a holiday after a tedious time at the World Cup to be here. You made a promise to us when we visited you, and you kept that promise. When I finish this address, I'll go back to my chair after His Excellency has declared this conference open to eagerly await your keynote address. And I hope that you will challenge all of us to know that success is a process, it never ends. And no matter what may be your story today, it can change for the better and for the best. Your Eminence, when we visited your palace and ambushed you by requesting that you be the royal father of the day, you did not hesitate. Even when situations presented themselves such that you need to be in Maiduguri tomorrow, at great difficulty and sacrifice, not only have you come here, you can come with your friend, the chief. I don't know his name, but I love your regalia, sir. And you're here, Your Eminence, showing that leadership is about sacrifice, and that a leader's word must be his bond. And to the good people of Maiduguri, whom you have led as part of the Kanemi dynasty, we have nothing but gratitude for them. Thank you so very much for being here. The members of the Conference Planning Committee have labored for us to get there. Members of the Executive Committee, whom I've had the honor of leading for almost these 2 years. And this will be the last time I will stand before an annual general conference of the NBA to address it as its president. And I can't wait for Mrs. Badejo Kusoya to take over from me. When she saw me a while before the conference commenced, she said, Mr. President, you look very excited. I said, yes, I do. I can't wait to hand over to you. We thank the members of the local organizing committee. But my greatest gratitude goes to the good people of Rivers State, who have allowed us to inconvenience them. We've displaced them from their hotels, from their recreation facilities. We cropped their roads, and yet they opened up their arms to welcome us. And also to Almighty God, who has ensured that the reigning Port Harcourt has held on to allow us get on with this conference. And my Lord the Chief Judge, I already apologize to you and express our gratitude to you and members of the judiciary. And before leaving, I will express my apology. Our sitting arrangement is not at its best. We could have got it better. In subsequent programs, we try to do so. That is not a slight to those who ought to have been given some special places. But know that we equally love you, and we're happy that you're here. Let us make this conference not a talk shop, but something that challenges us to make for a better Nigeria, to make the legal profession to count, so that people will not really ask and believe, why do we really need lawyers? We think lawyers, they do serve. Thank you all so very much for listening to me. Thank you for being a part of this. May God continue to be with us, and may the Nigerian Bar Association and Lead Nigeria continually go beyond limits. God bless all of us.